study, we are looking at like the importance of communication, like not just as a major, but like also in like all other fields and just like the importance of it for a university. And that's like our main project that we're working on that will end up being our final. So there were some rumors like circulating about the possible end of the communication department at Metro. And then I know that Dean Weinman had sent out that email to all of the communication students. So I was kind of wondering if you could like explain a little bit more about the taking like an academic year off from admitting people to the program and like what went into this decision.
Yeah, let me just talk a little bit about first of all what transpired and then what our plans are. And of course we always have to think these things through and talk to a lot of people to figure out what's the best next step. But as you may know, two senior faculty members on the Metro campus in the communication department decided to leave the university. One particular with rather short notice. So, and obviously in the middle of us dealing with the pandemic and everything else. So it caused us to take a look at the program, to take a look at our enrollments, what's been happening over time, and to make a plan as to how to go forward. So unfortunately, and it's just a fact, the enrollment has been decreasing year after year. Actually, a little bit on both campuses, but especially at the Metro campus. We, in 2008, had 102 students in the program. And then that's just dropped every year, now down to about 42. On the Florham campus, we have about 100 students in the program now. So the question is why? I'm not an expert in this particular field, but so we talked to a number of people. And I think, we came to the conclusion, or they did, and I agree actually, that we need to revamp the program a little bit on the Metro campus to cater for the future, right? Which is, as you probably know, in digital communication, in multimedia, journalism, and broadcasting. Broadcasting is very important also on the Metro campus. So we're planning to do that, but obviously we have to hire a faculty member in that with that expertise. We're just working on a job description right now, actually. Hiring an academic faculty member, we have to get the right person. It takes a little time. And that person will be charged, once hired, with really redeveloping this curricula so that we can really support going in that direction. And then we'll make a decision, is that enough? Obviously, we're hoping that the enrollment starts to increase, and then we can sort of make decisions about future faculty in that area going forward, because obviously we need full-time faculty at the university if we want to support a strong major. So in talking to the enrollment folks, we said, well, we can't really take students into a program that we haven't yet developed, but we don't want to lose students who might be interested in communication. So certainly any students who express an interest in communication, we will have our communication faculty talk to them and our enrollment people talk to them and suggest, they can definitely come to the university. They can either come in as undeclared or exploring that area, and then transfer into the full major in year 2, once hopefully we've got this all up and running and we've got the faculty member hired. But we have to be transparent about the situation. So we can't say, yeah, sure, we have this major right now, when we're really working on retooling it and building it up. So that's what we plan to do. And that's, so whilst we're not accepting students directly into the major this year, it doesn't mean to say that we're not at Metro. It doesn't mean to say that we're not encouraging those students to come to FDU, giving them a pathway to that major. Many students, as you probably know, either don't declare their major until the end of their first year, or they transfer quite often during their first few semesters at the university. So that could still be possible, but we just have to be honest about where we are with this and that we don't have that faculty member yet. We're going to do the search as quickly as possible and charge them immediately with working on this curriculum. But I think this is what we need to do. It's the right time to do it, to really make sure that we have a 21st century program that really is geared up to the future of communications and multimedia journalism and broadcasting and the likes. And that's what we're planning to do. So I'm happy to have this opportunity to clarify that with you. And, we're moving forward in that direction.
Thank you. And when you're referencing the two full-time faculty like leaving the university, in the email to students it was said the 1-year cut was just to get more faculty. Was this due to the loss of the two? And then how many new faculty is the university looking to hire, and will they be full-time or adjunct professors?
Yeah, well, as I said, the faculty member that we're going to start the search for now will be a full-time professor. That will enable us to get the program to start develop the new program. And then obviously we always have to monitor what the enrollment looks like. I mean, our hope and goal is that it doesn't keep declining like this, right? Is that we turn that around and increase the enrollment, in which case, as I said, we can look at, adding another full-time faculty member as and when. In the initial stage, obviously we as in many programs, have adjunct faculty, but we don't want to rely clearly on a major that's important to the campus. To rely on adjunct faculty is just not fair. So we're getting one full-time faculty member search now, and then we'll monitor it as we go forward. And assuming we can, increase the enrollment and stop the decline, and I'm pretty optimistic that we can if we retool in the way that I just mentioned, and then we'll consider adding another full-time faculty member as we get that enrollment to the university.
Thank you. How do you think this break from admitting comm students will affect other parts of the university, such as incoming athletes, communication organizations on campus like the newspaper and radio station?
I mean, it really shouldn't, because as I said, it's not like we're telling those students, no, you can't come. There's no communication major at Metro. We're saying, absolutely, you can come. I don't know if you're aware, but we have many students who come to the university without declaring their major in the first year. And we have areas, exploring the liberal arts and sciences and exploring the sciences, exploring this. So they can definitely come in under that auspices, and they will be guided to take the right courses during their first year, so that it'll be a seamless transition into this major, if that's what they would like to do in the second year. I just, in all transparency, we can't say come into this major right now, because we just don't have the curriculum built yet, and that's what this new faculty member will be charged with doing immediately that they join the university.
I actually came into the university undecided, and then at Admitted Students Day, that was whenever I realized that communication was what I wanted to do. So I totally get that a lot of students were like me and didn't know what they wanted to do.
Right. That happens, and then we get a lot of students. Actually, my son is a freshman in college this year at another college, and he's been, obviously he's actually doing it remote at the moment, but his high school friends, who all, he was close friends with, and who discussed all the majors, I think every one of them, except for him, has changed what they're planning to do after just a semester at the university anyway. And this is very common for our own students as well. So, that first year, we just have to make sure that the courses that you take in the first year, that any student takes, are flexible enough that if that's what they're sort of show an interest in, that those will be seamlessly transferred into their major as they decide and move in the second year.
So this is kind of like moving into more of just like a general academic standpoint, but I wanted to know what advice you have for students who are kind of struggling to fulfill requirements within their degree audit, especially like students like me and Jen who will be graduating within the next year. I know COVID has kind of caused for a lot of courses that I specifically need to take to finish my minor to not be happening, because my minor's in speech, and speech kind of has to be more in person besides the general public speaking courses. And there's also just a lot that in the comm department we don't really have as many hands-on classes right now because of being online. So I wanted to know like what advice you have for students that are like kind of struggling to find classes to take to like fulfill their last few semesters.
Yeah, well, look, first of all, let me say, we are hoping and planning to be much more, in person in the fall. Um, that's very much our hope, and that's the way we're planning. It may be, a new type of in person where there will be hybrid classes because we may still be. I fully expect us to still be wearing masks at some level. I fully expect that there'll be some social distancing still, but we're all hopeful that things are much better in the fall. And we're planning to have, at the moment, as we're planning our classes for the fall, we're planning for them to be in person for the most part, those ones that we can. But we probably will have to call most of them hybrid classes because we just don't have the capacity unless, and again, we're all trying to predict the future, right? And we don't know. But at the moment, the capacity of our rooms with social distancing just don't allow us to have a full class for many of the classes. So even those classes that are taking place this semester that are in person, they're sort of in person slash hybrid. So that's, some students are in the room, and some people are joining by Zoom as we're talking now. So we have outfitted with technology many of our classrooms, not all by any means, but many of them, with the technology to allow that. So they've got built-in microphones and they've got screens at the front and back of the room so that the students can see what's going on. And actually, I was talking to a faculty member late last week, two faculty members actually, one who said I got a class of 18, 14 were in the room and 4 joined by Zoom. And then another faculty member said, I think he said I had about, 16, 17 students in the class and 3 were in the room and everybody else had joined by Zoom. So there's a lot of different reasons why students would, some students are not ready to come back to in person yet. Some students may have tested positive or have contact traced to have been in somebody so they can't come. So we're trying to be flexible for all of those scenarios, but it means that we do have the technology in many of the classrooms so that it doesn't, we can do it in a number of different ways. Some faculty are doing their hybrid courses such that half the class is in the room for the first time the class meets in the week, and the other half may be doing something else asynchronously, but then it's switched for the second class so that half that were not in the room come in person and the other half do something asynchronously. Or it may be that half come in person and the other half join by Zoom. So we've really left that flexibility to the faculty members because, as you say, different disciplines and different subject areas blend better to joining in Zoom than others, right? So we've left that flexibility to the faculty members. So I'm hoping, it's a long way of answering your question, I'm hoping that in the fall you'll be able to get the classes that you want in the way that, in the modality that best suits those classes, which is in person for many of them. If there are any students who have not been able to get a class that they need to let, their advisor or dean or school director or whoever they talk with know that, especially if they need, to graduate, because that we don't want to happen. We are offering a number of summer courses at a discount if you take more than one to try and help some students who need to catch up or who want to get ahead at a reasonable cost to them. So we're trying to do as many things as we can. We'll do the same thing, I think, in the winter session. We did it last winter session, and we'll probably do it again in the winter session to really, again, help students to catch up. So if there are specific courses that you're concerned or any student is concerned hasn't been offered and that they're starting to worry, well, will it be offered before I have to graduate? They should really have that conversation because the sooner the people who are scheduling the classes know about it, the more we can sort of work to get those courses to make sure that they're offered. We don't want to delay students from graduating because they can't find the courses they need to do so.
Thank you. For now, we kind of want to take it just back to communications just a little bit, but in terms of why do you feel communication is fundamental, not just for communication majors, but for the and minors, but for the entire university population?
Well, look, I was just driving over here this morning and listening to NPR, which is my one to the. Excuse me. Excuse me. Good job you're not in the room with me. And they were talking about just the way anything is communicated these days. Actually, they were talking, a lot about conspiracy theories, but and how much they've grown through communication and through multimedia and through online platforms. But I mean, it's just a way of life now. So that's number one. People need to understand some of these issues. And I will also tell you that when we talk to folks in industry or in business or in commerce who employ our students, we ask them what they're looking for in graduates that they're hoping to employ. And obviously they want, depending on what area it is, they want students to know about those areas. But the number one and number two is always we need people to be able to speak and interact clearly, and we need people to be able to write and communicate clearly. So these are just two fundamentals of whatever you're going into in order to be successful. I trained in the sciences, and part of the reason when I was younger, at least, you might find this hard to believe now, but when I was younger, it was like I thought I didn't want to interact with people that much, and I was going to be in the lab and work with, experiments and things like that. But you very quickly find out that in science, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to write manuscripts. You need to be able to write grant proposals, and you need to be able to communicate your science. I mean, this pandemic is a prime example of that, I think, communications, because I talk to a lot of people and they say, oh, why don't they get their guidance straight? Why don't they tell us what we need to do first? They say, you don't need to wear masks. Then they say, you do need to wear masks. Then they say, if you're vaccinated, you still need to. Why don't they get it straight? And I'm saying, well, it's because the research is still coming out. This is a new virus. People don't know about it. The more research that's done, the more clear they can be with the guidelines. But people need to be able to communicate this so that people understand it. And I think part of the frustration is sometimes the lack of understanding of the communications that are going out. So it's became very important in the science fields as well as many other fields that, to be able to communicate clearly and concisely to the general public is critical. So I think it's just in every discipline. I'm sure you agree.
Yes, thank you. So kind of just, I know you talked about this a little bit, but I was wondering if the university has like a specific vision for the future of the communication department at Metro. I know you spoke more about like moving towards that multimedia type of discipline, which I know that with the restructuring, there are like new concentrations compared to like whenever I was admitted to the university. But I was wondering like what the exact vision is and like hopes for the future as far as like classes being offered and just what a comm major should come out of FDU knowing and how that would like be different from like any other university.
Well, sure, thank you. I look, I'm not claiming to be the expert in this area, so I refer to the experts, right, to get to work on the curriculum and to work on the learning outcomes. What should a student know? But I did refer to the fact that I think going forward, I think, digital communication and multimedia journalism and broadcasting are the areas that we will concentrate on at the Metro campus. I think that's exciting. I think it is the future. I think, all too often in academia, people, don't look at the makeup of different programs as regularly as perhaps they should. And this is not just, at FDU. In universities in general, you can't keep redoing the curricula and the majors. But this is very timely because I think this is an area that has changed, in our lifetimes, right? certainly in my lifetime, given that I'm significantly older than you guys. I've seen these changes, but the trajectory of the change has been enormous in the last, I would say, 10 years. And we do need to pivot and make sure that we offer an exciting curriculum, but also a curriculum that will train our students for these rapid changes. And I think if we encompass those areas, digital communication, multimedia, tied in with broadcasting, which we want to continue to work on at the Metro campus, that will be the focus at the Metro campus, not necessarily at the Florence campus, because they have a different type of program. That's fine. We need to look at that as well. As I said, the enrollment has dipped on that campus as well, but not as significantly as on the Metro campus, for reasons I don't really understand. But let's try this, new area that, if you Google those areas, you'll see that that this is the future, I think, of communications for many students, for students definitely who want to go into those areas and be part of digital communications and broadcasting. So that's the goal for the Metro campus, at least. I think it's a good one. I hope you agree, and I think we'll try to excite students. Once we have the curriculum, and even before that, we'll start marketing this as the program concentration at the Metro campus, and hopefully we can build the program up again, which is, I think, our goal. Of course, our goal.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us today. And I will let you guys know if we have any follow-up questions. We just kind of wanted to get a broader sense of what exactly the future of the university looks like for the comm department. That way we can relate it to how communication is looking nationally. Something that we're looking into is the job market, and what skills do people who want to go into communication need now versus 5-10 years ago. So
sure, that sounds great, and I look forward to seeing what you finally produced, because it'll all help in our preparing for the program for the future. So I'm always happy to talk to you. I know rumors abscond, and if ever you're concerned about things that you're hearing, it's always best to come to the source. And sometimes we'll say things that you perhaps don't want to hear. Sometimes we'll say things that you do want to hear, but it's better that we tell you. And I will say that, we had to decide what to do. So we were a little undecided to begin with, as we looked at the enrollments going down and the faculty leaving. But a very clear decision has now been made, and that's the trajectory that we're moving forward on.
I'm really excited to see what the future of comm looks like at FDU, especially for I'm the editor-in-chief of the Equinox now, and we've only been going up since I joined the newspaper. So I'm really hoping that if the enrollment goes up, that the newspaper can do even greater things in the future.
Perfect. Well, I wish you both luck for the rest of the semester. Stay safe and healthy, and let's hope the summer and the fall bring a new normal.
Hopefully. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you, ladies. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.